dog? Where's my doggy dog? Doggy dog. I thought I heard him coming. How about you? Oh, you think you bring your beast to fellow. I love my beastie. Alright. He's doing stuff. Here we go. Who wants a mystery strain review? This guy does. Shut up, you're no good, you're very good. I hope the sound is good. Because you're no good, yo. Because you're no good, yo. What are you doing? What are you even doing? Nobody's even doing this. Nobody's even doing this anymore. What are you even doing? Nobody's doing that. What are you doing, pal? Unreal. Psh. Oh boy, look at that view. What's that view trying to do there? We don't even know. It's doing stuff. It's looking up at the sky. You're going to love how this strain is coming to us today. So, yesterday I was hanging out with Mark, and he had a bag on him with cannabis, and he's like, hey, you want some? I've learned, man, when Mark asks you if you want some cannabis, you say yes. I go, yes, sir. Yes, please. He's like, here you go. And he gave me a handful. And I had nothing to put it in. So I went into my Roxer, and Mark had eaten a sandwich in my Roxer. And because he's so courteous, he balled up the wrapper of the sandwich and threw it on the floor of my fucking truck. Nice, huh? But because he did that, I had something to put the cannabis in. You see how that works? Something I thought was bad originally turned out to be something good that I needed. You see how that worked there? Look at that. Shut up. You're very good, you. So you guys want to see what he gave me? Here. We'll dump it out here. We're going to dump it out here. Here we go. I'm going to throw this paper away now. Okay. Wow, the smell's unreal. But let's take a look at it. All right? Let's take some of these stems out of here. And let's just see what we got, alright? In this mystery strain. We don't know what it is, but it certainly has a smell to it. Alright, this is what it looks like. Okay. Let's see what we got here, shall we? Whoa, ho, ho. Would you just take a look at that beautifulness right there? Let's get a little bit more light on the subject, shall we? That should be very interesting. I've got a bowl packed already of orange bud. I'm just going to set that aside. Let me see if I can find another 14-4 bowl. Hey, C. Banta. Hello. C. Banta's here. I want to make you a moderator on my channel. Oh, I'm thinking about it. C. Banta. Oh, you already are. Good, good, good. Hey, Roz, I'm going to make you a moderator. And, moderator. And Dominic Dum Dum, I'm going to make you a moderator too, Dommy Dum. If it'll let me. It's being weird. Add moderator. There you go, Dom. Now you're a moderator too. Alright, let's grab another bowl here. Man. We can find we're looking for a 14 4 bowl, clean one. Got one. Cool. I got a clean bowl. It's green. It's a green bowl. It's a clean bowl, but it's a green bowl. There it is. See that? A clean bowl, but a green bowl. Alright, so I'm excited about this stuff. We're going to take these tiny buds right here and we're going to turn that into a bowl of happiness and goodness. Let's smell it. It smells like the wedding cake out there, bro. It smells like that wedding cake out there. I wonder if that's what this bud is. Huh. It's possible, right? Isn't that crazy if that's what he gave me and I don't even know it? You're welcome, Roz. Maybe he got the plants from the same person. He did get the plants from the same person. We're trying to track all that down, actually. We're working on it. But she got the plants from someone else. I was riding the quad, so my beard's a little tangled. I got to untangle the entanglements. He took some bud off of that plant the other day, and I don't know if this is it or not. But I don't know. Anyway, let's smoke it and find out. Here we go. Here goes the mystery strain review. At top of the hour, no law regarding cannabis. Cannabis doesn't test for all. Cheers, everybody. Smooth. Huh. Got a little bite. Hey, man. Hey. You know that bag where you gave me those buds out of? Yeah. Is that from the plant number 6? Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. I just did a bong hit of it. It's a little bit harsh though. Gotcha. Not me. Not me. We got good shit here. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye. All right. So no, that's not from that plant. That's from our friend. She's a grower. And he says it's like the last of her shit. Oh, but that coffee makes my throat feel so much better. So, we got a show here for 7:10. What do you guys say about that? I don't think I'm going to smoke this again. It's give it a ranking right now, 1 out of 5. I'll give it a 3.5. Smooth, but harsh. It was smooth going down, but it was harsh on the end. It wasn't a lot of flavor. It seemed like it was a little premature. That's why I thought it was from plant number 6. These were tiny buds, so you can't expect a lot from that, you know, from tiny buds. So we'll get this out of here. I don't want to really smoke the rest of that. And we'll put the orange bud back in. I feel like I'm swapping out warheads, you know, on my freaking weapon system. Adding second pull. You guys like my sound effects? Can you believe I'm an adult? I was on my quad today looking for my dog. I was like, is this what an adult does? I was like, yeah, I guess so, because here I am. Doing it. Hey, look at me. Look at my doggy on the street. He chased a deer, by the way. It was interesting. Mark spotted the fucker, right? He's like, dude, that thing shot. He said it took one jump and went all the way across the road. You know. And I was like, yeah, it had to be a deer, you know, because it was jumping from a ledge. It was about 4 or 5 feet up off the level of the road. So it just jumped the whole fucking road. And he took off. And then Rogan, he starts looking down there where the deer was. And I guess it was still down there on the other side of the road. I guess. Because he fucking started chasing that motherfucker. And he went right across the road where the deer went across the road. And he was gone. Up the mountain on the other side. So I wasn't going to find him, you know. He eventually came out when he wanted to. And he came back down the mountain. But I'm not going up there, you know. And I'm just glad that he stayed out of trouble. Good evening, everyone. Hello, and how are you today? Try to get these microphones as directed towards me as possible here for your listening pleasure. So I was in my flower bed several weeks ago, and I saw this thing coming up out of the ground, and I was like, I wonder if that's a weed. It looked kind of different. But I was like, it's probably just a native plant. I'll just let it grow and whatever. It's a freaking flower, man. I'm so glad. It's a beautiful red and pink flower. They must have been planted there years ago, long before I ever lived here. And they've come back, right where the flower bed is, you know? Flowers. And I've got other plants there, and I'm just like so happy. It's just so cool to see that happen. Just started watering the ground, and a flower came up out. Right up out of the ground. Big fat bong rips. Cheers, buddy. Yeah, I think I'm switching over to something else. I'm not too crazy about the mystery strain that I smoked. So I'm gonna go back to the orange bud. No law regarding cannabis. It is 7:10 right now. I'm just pointing at y'all. It is 7:10 right now. Happy 7:10. No law regarding cannabis. Cannabis isn't just for all. Cheers. It's so much smoother and tastier and better. And it's a year old. I don't know, for some reason I was just thinking that phone might do that. Oh, it's my baby girl. I love you. For some reason her chat's not coming through. Okay. I guess are you trying to I just saw you. I saw you here. I got all excited. There you are, Sibanta on YouTube. It said good evening, oh pretty, you said. We could see you. We could see you. Dude, why are flies still awake? They should all be gone or sleeping or dead. Been a minute, Nate. It's Cup of Joe. Been through a lot these past months. Lost my house to fire. Just making every day to pay for stuff to survive. But cheers, bro. A fire. Wow. What kind of fire, Cup of Joe with Joe? Welcome back to the show, bro. Was it a forest fire or was it a house fire? Was it just your place? Or was it like wiping out a whole city fire? Here comes Rogie. You guys want to see Rogie come through the door? Rogie Beazle, why you Beazle Beazle? Oh, everybody loves Beazle. He doesn't like all the kissies and stuff that I give him. What's up, Beaz? Do you have fun today? Did your daddy give you a ride back up to the house? After your run up the mountain? Your water heater went bad. Oh, electrical fire in your house. Man, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. It's fucking horrible. Holy shit, brother. Who's the little guy? That's Rogan. Cup of Joe, you've been here for the... It hasn't been 2 years, has it? He's 2 years old. You've been here within the last 2 years, haven't you? The Roguemeister, dude. I call him the Bees. Because he's always beesling around. When he walks around, he does this with his head. Every time he take a step, man, his head goes side to side. He's got that side to side motion, you know what I mean, son? Call him the Rhino. Call him Piglet. Call him a Beelzebub. I have called that dog a million different names. I come up with the funniest names for him, and no one ever hears them except for him. You know, I'll just have like a word in my head for some reason. I'll look at him and call it the whatever word is in my head. I wish I had a recording of every time I've ever done that. Like the other day I called him, "What's up, Action Jackson?" I call him all kinds of shit. You want me to think of some of the names I called him? I'll try to think of them. I've never called him this, but this is the kind of name I'd call him. I'd be like, "What's up, Pump House?" That's not one I've thought of yet, though. That's a good one. What did I call him the other day? Oh man, I got some good ones. Growing Legit, what's up? You guys want to see a night view of the grow? If we could pull that up. Growing Legit, real one, what's up? What flavor? It was like a wedding cake, but it was a kind of a premature or poorly flushed. I went back to Orange Bud because the Orange Bud's better. I'm drinking cafe though, and we're doing it. I'm bringing up the grow for you to see right now. Okay, it's in night vision. It's in night vision. Excuse me, guys. Let me try to clear my throat here. Okay. Okay. There is your night vision shot. That plant right there is not pleasing me at all as far as bud production. Mark basically doesn't want me to put any of the nutrients that I'm using on my plants on his. His already look horrible, and my plants all look amazing. His all look like they're about to die, and mine look like they still got months left on them. Plants 1, 2, and 3 are dark green and healthy and beautiful looking. Plants 4, 5, and 6, yellow leaves dropping off of them. Not a lot of bud production. Smaller. And it's funny is, my plants are the ones that are producing all the vegetables. Plants 1, 2, and 3 are the ones with all the vegetables. All these pole beans I've been eating. Tomatoes now. I ate 3 tomatoes today, little tiny ones, little cherry tomatoes that are not the right size yet, but they're ripe. It's a pretty sunset outside tonight. You know, I'm looking for a 30% of them at least to be amber. Right now, I've got 1 or 2% on plant number 6, and that's it. Everything else is cloudy trichomes. That plant number 1 is nowhere near ready, and it's huge, and it's a pain in the ass to spray and keep the spider mites off of. They like the very top of the plant, you know. More cafefe, please. I need that cafefe on my throat, man. Okay, so we're good on the plant. We can only see the first one there anyway. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Let me just see if anybody is saying anything on YouTube right now. No, just me. Nays Garden, Nays Garden, Nays Garden, Nays Garden, Nays Garden. Right on. Oh, the Jackson Hinkle's live. AOC exposes herself during Mehdi Hassan interview on Iron Dome. Really? Dude, that's kind of fucking worth watching. Jackson Hinkle's live right now, guys. You guys want to watch Jackson Hinkle with me and smoke out? Because I can't really talk, man, because of my voice. I'd rather just listen to somebody else.
Of, you know, fine-tuning their craft of lying on behalf of the State Department, right? They've put in so much time to do this correctly. They've read so many scripts and learned so many talking points to make the case that, you know, the U.S. Imperialist class should be considered like the dictatorial force of the globe, and that people should just accept that. right? So like it really is insulting to all of the imperialists.
I'm gonna
of
let
the
them know I'm
Democratic establishment.
rebroadcasting them.
When you have someone like AOC go out and try to do their shtick, and then it just goes horribly wrong. It goes horribly wrong. So, context, of course, AOC was on the House floor taking a vote on whether or not to provide $1 billion in additional funding, not just for the Iron Dome, which is Israel's missile defense system. That doesn't do all that good a job of protecting Israel from missiles, but also for our Operation Guardian of the Walls. Now, what is Operation Guardian of the Walls? It is an Israeli, assault campaign on Gaza, which is still ongoing. But it was initiated, this Operation Guardian of the Walls was initiated in the most recent major assault on Gaza.
Spaghetti's right on, right on.
The operation that almost
radical
resulted
leftist
in
agenda. Gave us a
Gaza,
shout out.
right? They came very close to that. So this is a part of the funding in this bill that a lot of people don't talk about. They talk about the defensive aspect of the bill, the Iron Dome, right? They say, well, you shouldn't have voted present on giving $1 billion to Israel's Iron Dome, but it's not just that. It provided an endorsement of and funding for Operation Guardian of the Walls as well. So, two things that $1 billion went to. It passed with an overwhelming majority. AOC initially voted no. There was sparks that flew on the House floor. AOC started crying. Pelosi was yelling at her. And a group of people with Jayapal, I believe it was, and Cori Bush, and another Congress member, and Pelosi were there. And then she changed her vote to present. She changed it from no to present after speaking out in the past and saying, present votes are essentially bullshit because you're not taking a stance, and we come here to take a stance. So, with all of that being said, AOC received an immense amount of backlash for taking this dog shit vote. She put out like a 40-page thesis on why she voted present, which didn't explain why she voted present. And this is the first time she's been challenged, if you can call it that, in a live interview since taking that vote on her present vote on funding the Iron Dome and Operation Guardian of the Walls to the tune of $1 billion. So, let's take a look at this. This is a part of a larger interview with Mehdi Hassan on MSNBC that surrounded infrastructure.
Good! We got here in
bills.
time to see this.
But from the last 5 minutes is the most interesting part.
I'm so glad we caught this. So this is exactly what I want to see.
Incredible, worst interview I've ever seen AOC give.
Congress suddenly found $1 billion to give Israel for its Iron Dome missile defense system, which, to be clear to our viewers, is already fully funded. This was a $1 billion cherry on top. The majority of the squad, Cori Bush, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, voted against it. Jamal Bowman voted for it, and he told me on this show the other night it's because he wanted to represent his diverse constituents.
So, before we listen to AOC's response, that is an important note there, right? Jamal Bowman and Ro Khanna both voted yes on this bill. Absolute sick fucks. They just straight up voted yes. But I will say, Jamal Bowman didn't try to squirm his way out of it. He took it on the chin. He's like, yeah, I fucking took that vote. Like, I would have honestly had not more respect, but, like, I would have been, like, less fucking weird had AOC just voted yes or no. If she had voted no, that would have been great. That's what she should have done. That wouldn't have been bad at all. That would have been a good thing. But the fact that she did this present thing and tries to weasel her way out of it, it's infuriating. It's insulting to all of our intelligence. Like, just at that point, just be a Jamal Bowman and be like, take it on the chin and be like, yeah, I fucking suck and I voted yes. That's what I did and that's what I'm going to do, okay? But she doesn't do that. She tries to weasel her way out, and that's why this is the worst interview ever.
You voted present, despite having criticized other House members in the past for voting present. I know you put out a statement addressing this, but can you just briefly explain to us?
Yeah, I heard about that, Growing Legit.
Why you voted that way? Because I'm
He's
sure
a fucking poser,
you come under a lot
motherfucker.
of criticism for that present vote, including from supporters of yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was an extremely difficult vote, and I also think it's important that people are educated about the process of this vote.
It was not an extremely difficult vote. It's just, do you want to give $1 billion to Israel's Iron Dome and bombing campaign on Gaza?
Pretty cut and
do you want to
dry.
fund genocide or do you not?
That Democratic leadership decided to fast track this funding. So when you want funding for preschool here in the United States, if you want funding for any sort of domestic priority, it must go through what feels like 80 different committee hearings, markups, etc. And here, just casually, $1 billion was fast-tracked, no committee markup. In fact, earlier that week, leadership attempted to kind of slip in an
Hey, we
extra $1
can
billion
let the
into,
Beebs into the
routine
cannabis community,
legislation,
can't
and that
we?
was part of the Democrats'
I
efforts
extend my hand to the
remove it,
Beebs,
because
bro.
this
Come
is
on, let's do
contentious.
it.
Now,
Okay,
Let him
this
have
is
his
a very
strain.
interesting part.
Let him have his
This
strain.
is what I
Come
say.
on.
You know, her weaseling is so insulting to the Democratic establishment because they do
We
a
gotta
better
be
job of
welcoming.
weaseling out of any situation on U.S. foreign policy issues than she would here. So she admits right here, folks. This is the first time she admits that she's an absolute walking L of a fucking human being. Right here, she admits she's like, you know, earlier in the week, leading Democrats tried to slip in an amendment to get this $1 billion into a larger bill, right? They tried to slip it in. And AOC, was a part of a movement of progressives, and probably Thomas Massey as well, to get that pulled out immediately. I was a part of that movement. That was me, AOC. They tried to slip it in, and I pulled
Sounds
it out.
like me.
So why is it,
That
AOC,
was me.
that if
I was
you
a part of
could
that movement.
act with such, you know, cat-like reflexes so
me.
quickly to pull out the $1 billion earlier in the week,
Playing 5D
and you were
chess.
so sure about pulling out that $1 billion
5D
earlier in the
chess.
week, what changed? Do you now need more time to like come to a conclusion as to whether or not you support this? Like, you said that you were like, I was so opposed to it
5D
earlier in the week, that's why I
chess.
so quickly pulled it out. But then she goes on, as you can see here in the rest of this video, she goes on to be like, well, you know, I don't know how I would have voted, to be honest. Well, maybe I would have probably voted no, but they just didn't give me enough time to think about it. Well, what? No, you had enough time. You knew about this for a full week, and you reacted very
Yeah, it's
quickly
over 10
earlier
feet
in the
tall.
week to pull this out. So that's a bullshit fucking argument, you fucking piece of shit.
what became very difficult during the course of the week was that, you know, my district is adjacent to Representative Bowman's, and this began to,
That means she's you know, she's signaling here. She has a lot of individuals in her district who are sympathetic to the plight of Israel.
just really become quite contentious in our community, in part due to the disingenuous messaging that both parties were advancing. You are correct in that this funding was in addition to the already fully funded Iron Dome.
Okay, so now she's doing her thing that she did in her like 40-page thesis where she's like, you know, no one should have voted for this. It was bad. It was additional funding. We didn't need it, but I voted present, right? She's doing that thing. She lists all the reasons why it's bad, but then never acknowledges why she voted present.
It's psychotic.
But Democratic leadership decided to run with the narrative that this was, in fact, to vote against it was to defund the Iron Dome, which sent many of our constituents into a panic.
Clearly, you ran with that narrative too because you didn't care to challenge it. If you really didn't think it was that, if you didn't think that was the narrative, you should have said, well, this isn't defunding anything. It's an additional $1 billion. You should have made the fucking argument. You're a member of Congress. You have millions more followers than anyone else in Congress. You get way more engagement than anyone else in Congress. You should have made the argument. You should have done an IG Live and been like, these fucks are lying yet again. What else is new? And I'm right because this is additional funding. It's not defunding of the Iron Dome. Although, I would support that. I would support that. And I think most of her supporters would support that as well.
They called this vote. They scheduled the vote 2 hours. They called the vote that it was scheduled, and that lack of timing.
They should defund the Iron Dome. Israel will pay for it. They got plenty of supporters. We don't need to pay for it. Israel can pay for it,
Why
though.
was the timing not an issue earlier in the week, but now it's an issue now?
They got plenty of money.
She had cat-like reflexes to remove the $1 billion in funding earlier in the week and immediately drew it out of the bill with her fellow progressives. But now she changes it.
How come she can't use her cat-like reflexes to pull out all the good things out from the Build Back Better agenda and vote them individually? Number 2 face.
It's a good question. It's a good question. Thank you, Jay Rosales, for the super chat. Let's keep watching.
Something that has been obviously very difficult, but
The
that is
question,
what happened that time.
Congressman, the question that a lot of people ask me to ask you this is, was it worth doing present? Because it didn't really satisfy anyone. The supporters of Israel are mad at you for not voting for it. Critics of Israel are mad at you for not voting against it. Do you regret that?
You know, it is something that I weigh because there's always the macro and then there's the micro.
This is the best part. Andrew Matthews, thank you for the super chat.
She probably didn't have her Starbucks that day.
Probably. In fact, I'm going to move the chat up here for now so you guys can see her face during this. You got to see this. So, Mehdi Hassan's like, well, yeah, that doesn't really answer the question. I was asking, like, you know, why'd you fucking vote president on it? And listen to her response. She talks about the macro and the micro. The macro and the micro, it all makes sense now. The macro and the micro.
It is something that I weigh because there's always the macro and then there's the micro. And in the macro of narrative, of politics, of national impact, you know, I probably should have just gone with my value. But in the macro, which would be to vote no, but in the micro, I do believe that this created a window in our community to be able to bring all folks to the table, because my great fear is that we are going to import the same sort of contention around this issue, and we can have a progressive movement that defends Palestinian human rights, that is Muslim, Christian, Jewish, so in the micro, I believe that it created a window of opportunity for us in the Bronx, but in the macro, it was very difficult, yes.
So just before we finish,
Okay, so we're gonna go back and break that down because
Good
that
dump.
was just a fucking
Word
that was,
salad.
if people are saying that's a word salad, that's a word salad. No, that's verbal diarrhea. That is verbal diarrhea. That's literally AOC shitting out of her mouth. And did you guys hear how the whole time Mehdi Hassan was like, yes, understood, yes, okay, understood. That's Mehdi Hassan signaling, AOC, shut the fuck up. I shouldn't have asked you this. I knew that you didn't have a good answer, but I didn't want to look like a complete hack, so I asked you one mildly tough question that I'm not going to press. You know I'm not going to press you on it, but your answer is so fucking terrible that I need you to shut up for your own fucking good. That's why he kept saying, yes, okay, understood. He doesn't understand shit. How do you understand what she was saying? No one can understand what she was saying. It's about the macro and about the micro and about the macro and it's about the who and the what and the how and what about. This is the same shit she always does. It's her Donald Rumsfeld moment, right? It's her Donald Rumsfeld moment. What was the other time that I brought up she sounded like Donald Rumsfeld? What was that clip? She was talking about, what was she talking about? Someone fucking tell me what that interview was from, because I'm going to pull it up to analyze it and compare it. But let's go through this again and break it down.
It has been obviously very difficult, but
the
that is
question,
what happened that day.
Congressman, the question that a lot of people ask me to ask you this is, was it worth doing?
Yes, it was the things known and unknown. What video was that from?
Things
Thank you,
known
Ricky
and
Rance.
unknown,
Ricky
micro and
Rance.
macro,
I hope you're
CIA
doing well.
up.
I hope you're doing well. Thank you for that. The known and the unknowns. What was that from, though? It's about the knowns and the unknowns. The unknown knowns. The reasons known and unknown. And then you have the NYC Jewish Relations Council video where she's talking about the Israeli brutality, and she's like, it's about the what, not the how, right? It's about the how and not the what. And then you have, oh God, you just have so many. Everyone has their tell, right? Everyone has their tell. And it's about, like, hiding your tell. Like, when you're fucking bluffing, or you don't know what you're talking about, or you're just straight up lying, like in this case, everyone has their tell. Sometimes people get a twitch. You know, sometimes people have, like, a little, like, they fucking, like, just start scratching their face or something like that or something. Everyone has their tell. Sometimes people get a little eye twitch. I don't know. Everyone has their thing. AOC's thing is she just starts, like, going into a downward spiral that she can't stop herself on, right? Because AOC has it in her mind that she has to have an answer for everything that makes her look good, yet she doesn't have an answer that can make her look even reasonably, like, acceptable here, right? It was the Capitol protest, the knowns and the unknowns. Was it that? What video was it from?
Known, unknown equals capital, protest.
Thank you. Thank you, I'm a Phil American. I don't remember what that was from, though. It was about the rent moratorium. Alright, let's break this down now. Let's break this down. Hey, shout out to everyone tuning in. Be sure to drop a like. It helps us boost in the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for everyone being here. We got like 850 people here. That's wild.
present because it didn't really satisfy anyone. The supporters of Israel are mad at you for not voting for it. Critics of Israel are mad at you for not voting against it. Do you regret that?
You know, it is something that I weigh because there is.
It's something that I weigh, but it's not something that I particularly care about because I voted present on it anyways. That's what she wants to say here. CB Applejack, thank you.
Jimmy Dore. It was from question about moratorium.
Okay, now I'm really lost with that.
There's always the macro and then there's the micro. And in the macro,
Let's actually pick apart what she's trying to say here. The macro and the micro, okay? There's always the macro and the micro.
there's always the macro and then there's the micro. And in the macro of narrative, of politics, of national impact, you know, I probably should have just gone with my value.
So
wide
that was
view.
the macro, right?
That's the wide view.
Of the macro of national impact. So she's basically saying, as far as like the substantive ramifications, both nationally and probably internationally, of this vote, I should have voted no, right?
Hi, Margie.
That's what she's saying here. She's like, you know, I probably should have gone with my values. She's saying she voted against her values. She's saying she voted against what her heart tells her to do. And she's saying, you know, like, I should have voted no. She admits it here. She admits it in front of everyone on national television. She says, I should have voted no, but I didn't because I was thinking about the micro, not the macro. I was thinking about the micro, not the macro. So the macro, folks, basically means real-world ramifications of her vote. That's the macro. Big picture stuff. Disco Phil, thank you for the super chat. I hope you're doing well.
Eviction moratorium. Capital Steps comments.
Must have been Colin's video then. I'll pull it up after this. But we got to break down the micro now. So that was the macro.
You know, I probably should have just gone with my value. But in the macro, which would be to vote no.
I probably should have just gone with my value, which would have been to vote no. I probably should have just gone with my value, which would have been to vote no. Okay, thank you, AOC. Thank you for admitting it. You probably should have just gone with your own values to vote no. But what? You listen to Nancy Pelosi? You listen to the Democratic establishment? What happened? What happened? The micro happened, folks. This is her admitting for the second time now. So there's two major gaffes in this interview. First gaffe is when she says, you know, I acted so quickly to remove the $1 billion from the bill earlier in the week, but now she's saying that she doesn't have enough time to decide on whether or not the $1 billion is good or not. So that's the first fuck up. Second fuck up is when she says, you know, I probably should have just voted for my macro values, for my core macro values. I probably should have just voted no, because that's my macro values. So basically she's saying, you know, for the Palestinians who are being bombed by this money that I'm providing to Israel, I probably should have voted no, but I was thinking about the micro. So what's the micro?
But in the micro, I do believe that this created a window in our community to be able to bring all folks to the table, because my great fear is that we are going to import the same sort of contention around this issue, and we can have a progressive movement that defends Palestinian human rights, that is Muslim, Christian, Jewish, so in the micro, I believe that it created a window of opportunity for us in the Bronx.
What? So yeah, the
A
macro,
window.
the macro is real world ramifications of this vote. The micro is an imaginary window into the Bronx. The micro is an imaginary window into the Bronx. Let me listen to that one more time. I'm so lost.
And we can have a fear is able to bring all folks to the table, because
so the micro is an imaginary window that allows us to bring all folks to the table.
My great fear is that we are going to import the same sort of contention around this issue, and
that will allow us to, you know, alleviate tension.
We can have a progressive movement that defends Palestinian human rights, that is Muslim, Christian, Jewish, so in the micro, I believe that it created a window of opportunity for us in the Bronx. But in the macro, it was very difficult, yes.
In the macro, I shouldn't have done it, right? The macro, you know, This money's going to be used to fund Iron Dome. This money's going to be used for Operation Guardian of the Walls, which is, you know, the Israeli bombing campaign against Gaza. But the micro provides us with, you know, an imaginary window into NY14, you know, which is my community that I represent. And, you know, you have to be thinking about the unknown knowns and the known unknowns, right? And what about? You have to be thinking...
As many times as this woman has been ripped apart by people on YouTube, I can't believe how many supporters she still has.
In our community and build a progressive front of Jewish people, of Muslims, of atheists, of Christians that all respect Palestinian, resistance, so long as they're not resisting the bombing that I'm providing, the money for to Israel. So that's the micro, folks. The micro is what's the line from Wolf of Wall Street? It's fugazi. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's absolutely nothing. That's the micro. That's the micro. You know what AOC sounds like right now? This is what she absolutely, really, 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 really sounds like right now. Like 100%, this is exactly what she sounds like. Nina, thank you for the super chat.
Arguing with young child makes no sense.
I agree. This is actually what AOC sounds like in this video right here. When she says this.
They should have just gone with my value. But in the macro, which would be to vote no, but in the micro, I do believe that this created a window in our community to be able to bring all folks to the table, because my great fear is that we are going to import the same sort of contention around this issue.
This is what she sounds like.
Bring all folks to the table?
This is what she sounds like. I think this is the right video.
What does that even mean?
This is what she sounds like.
She's going to bring all folks to the table.
Anonymous, thank you for... Or is that Dick Long? Thank you for the super chat.
Dick Long.
Appreciate that. This is straight up what she sounds like.
And yet readily marginalizing that intersectionality. It's very profound. These conversations are intrinsically multifaceted, right? There are different angles to be looking at this from, and it's crucial to juxtapose that contrast within those realms of varying perspectives. And it's sort of the case where, are we asking ourselves the right questions, or are we all just sort of victim to the cause itself? It's suffocating, to be quite frank. It's
the micro is suffocating.
He said the same thing over and over again.
But having these conversations is extremely, extremely vital in fundamental change, and being able to sort of step back and look at this from a bird's eye view and not just a worm's eye view. And that, of course, begs the ever-aching question of whose bird is this, right?
Whose micro is this? Whose microwave is this? Okay, actually, I said she sounded like this person who's imitating woke people on social media nowadays. I said she sounded like this. This is actually what she sounds like. This is actually
Hi,
what she sounds
Monique.
like. This is a far better representation.
You're on the road again?
Like. Do not trust a fucking word AOC says. She's a disgrace.
review.
Don't believe a word she said. This is what she
Strain
sounds like.
sucks. Don't worry about it. You didn't miss anything.
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans
I gave it
can't
3.5.
locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, South Africa and Iraq, everywhere such as, I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa. It should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future.
Thank you very much, South Carolina. And that's Mehdi Hassan. Thank you very much, AOC. Understood.
And then she smiles.
No, this is actually, Miss South Carolina in this video here, this is actually, I don't know if you guys knew this yet, but the Justice Democrats are highly focused on bringing in a diversity of, voices, political backgrounds, and even careers into their, ever-expanding agenda and organization. The former Miss South Carolina here is actually AOC's new communications director. That's who that is. She actually works for AOC now. She's her new communications
Oh, right on,
director.
Monique.
I mean, come on. Take a listen to this. one more time, folks.
Just really become quite contentious in our community, in part due to the disingenuous messaging that both parties were advancing. You are correct in that this funding was in addition to the already fully funded Iron Dome, but Democratic leadership decided to run with the narrative that this was, in fact, to vote against it was to defund the Iron Dome, which sent many of our constituents into a panic. They called this vote. They scheduled.
When she says it sent many of our constituents into a panic, it means that the Israel lobby was saying, "Hey, look, you know that primary challenger you had in 2020 or 2018, whatever, that raised a lot of money. Well, your next primary challenger, they're going to be raising 3 times as much as that if you vote no on this bill. So get fucked, AOC, get fucked." Pancho, thank you.
The what and the how AOC bumbles through interview on Israel and Palestine.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to bring that up. Don't worry. But let's continue watching this one more time.
Scheduled the vote 2 hours. They called the vote 2 hours after it was announced that it was scheduled, and that lack of timing created
You've got an allergy?
volatile environment back in the district, and so it's something that has been.
What you allergic to? The
severely
garden?
difficult, but
The
that is
question,
what happened that day.
You allergic to
the question a lot of
Dabsies?
people asked me to ask you this.
Nobody's allergic to
Was it worth doing
Dabsies.
present? Because it didn't really satisfy anyone. The supporters
Can we just appreciate how much of
I
a
don't know if I
fucking
can
little
smoke.
Weasley bitch Mehdi Hassan is? Can we just appreciate how much of a Weasley little bitch Mehdi Hassan is? Dog eats meat, man. Thank you for the super chat. He's such a Weasley little bitch. He's like, well, a lot of people have encouraged me to ask this. I can't.
Love
do this
this
fucking
guy.
accent. A lot of people have encouraged me to ask you this question. It's like, bro, just say you have a question. Don't say what's this. This is like when you have like a little kid and they're like, well, I'm just asking for my friend. If you like Julie, I'm just asking for my friend if you like her. It's like, no, that little chick's trying to find out if you have a crush on her best friend Julie. She doesn't really care about this shit. She's not asking on behalf of Julie. She's just trying to find that shit out. Mehdi Hassan just wants to know this shit, but he's such a Weasley little bitch. He's like, I have a bunch of friends that have asked me this, to ask you this, and I don't really have.
Hey, it's
care
420
whichever way you
Newfoundland.
saw
No
it,
longer
but
go to cannabis.
I
Cannabis
thought
isn't just for
that
all.
I would
Cheers,
ask you
everybody.
this question because I have a lot of friends that wanted to hear the answer to this. Well, no.
Yeah, the
Mehdi
answer to
Hassan,
this.
you don't have the question. Ask her the fucking question. Do your job. Be a journalist. Stop being a Weasley little fucking bitch. Holy shit.
Israel are mad at you for not voting for it. Critics of Israel are mad at you for not voting against it. Do you regret that?
You know, it is something that I weigh because there's always the macro and then there's the micro. And in the macro of narrative, of politics, of national.
Thank you, Jorge.
You know, I probably should have
Fuck
just
AOC,
gone with,
she does
with
gives
my
a me
value.
boner,
But in the
though.
macro, which would be
She
to
gives
vote
me a
no.
boner.
But in the micro, I
That
do
guy
believe
said
that this
that.
created a window in our community to be able to bring all folks to the table.
Why is he saying okay? Okay, I understand. Why is he saying that? Because he's a Weasley little bitch. That's why. If Mehdi Hassan was a good journalist, he'd say, AOC, I don't understand a word you're fucking saying. No one here understands what you're saying. Literally, the producers
Hi, Patty.
behind the cameras are holding up like signs with question marks on them because they don't know what you're saying. No one knows what you're saying. What are you talking about? The macro, the micro, this and that, the what, the who. Thank you,
They call
Disco
the
Phil.
vote. Who as they? And can we see how they prioritize?
Thank you. They call the vote who is they, and yeah, no, exactly. They is the Democratic establishment. They is the Israel lobby, and AOC is the weak, spineless, feckless coward who will not stand up for anyone but herself. But herself. She will not stand up for anyone but herself. Mehdi's a little bitch. She's a feckless, spineless fuck. And none of them will ever stand up for Palestinians, right? If Mehdi Hassan wanted to do his good humanitarian due diligence and journalistic due diligence, he would say right here, AOC, what do you think about the fact that a good portion of this funding, $1 billion, is going to Operation...
I used to find AOC attractive until I see how she is on the inside. Once you see how a woman is on the inside, it's hard to look at her exterior and find her attractive. Just like any Fox bitch, just like any Republic cunt bitch, it's hard to find them attractive, you know?
Carried out by the Israeli government. Why would you give funding, $1 billion in particular, to a campaign like that also almost launched a ground incursion into Gaza? Why would you do something like that? He would say that. But instead, AOC here says, well, Mehdi, you have to think about the micro and the macro. And he says, understood. I totally understand.
She turns me on about as much as Nancy Pelosi does.
More interviews in the future because you bring me the only views that I ever get on this channel. That's Mehdi Hassan's primary concern is getting AOC back on, not pissing her off so she continues to come on his show. AOC's primary concern here is, as always, herself. She doesn't care about Palestine. She doesn't care about innocent kids in Gaza that are getting fucking bombed. She doesn't care about any of that. All she cares about is herself, okay? And honestly, I say this is the worst interview she's ever given, but it's awfully close to this interview.
Can be taken to support movements towards peace, both between Israelis and Palestinians, as well as within the entire region, such as the Abraham Accords.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, earlier just now, you and I were talking about the what and the how.
Yes.
And I think that when we talk about establishing peace,
was it Barack Obama attractive,
centering people's
Monique?
humanities, protecting people's rights, it's not just about the what and the end goal, which often gets a lot of focus, but I actually think it's much more about the how and the way that we are coming together and how we interpret that what and how we act in
Super Chat.
The actions that we take to get to that what. And so make sure that that we are valuing a process where all parties are respected and have a lot of equal opportunity to really make sure that we are negotiating good faith, etc. That being said, I think that there's just this one central issue of settlements. Because if the what that has been decided on is to stay, then the action of settlements is it's not the how to get to that what.
Beautiful.
And so, I think that's a central thing that we need.
Thank you, Nays Garden. Thank you, Nima.
AOC turns me on exactly as much as Nancy Pelosi does.
I don't have to agree with that. Thank you. Thank you for the super chats. Listen to this interview. She said it's about the what and it's about the how, and we have to consider.
She agreed
the
with my
process.
super chat.
But she doesn't say it's about the apartheid. She doesn't say it's about the occupation. She doesn't say it's about the colonization. She doesn't say it's about the genocide. She doesn't say we need to consider Palestinian resistance and human rights, any of that shit. It's about the what and the how, and we need to consider the process and make sure all parties are heard, even the fucking war criminals, right?
We need to make sure that we center and that we value Jewish and rather we value Israeli. We value the safety and the human rights of Israelis. We value the safety and the human rights of Palestinians in that process.
Hey,
similar
Sokol, what's up,
and
buddy?
on equal footing. And so all of that is extremely important in that process. And
yes, it's all equally important, you guys. It's all equally important. Don't let anyone tell you that you should be more concerned with the Palestinians that are being bombed and blown to pieces for just trying to fight for their own human rights. They're all equal. It's all the same.
I'll bet AOC is amazing at crosswords, though.
I bet she is, Dixon. That's a good point. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, and also this video is really bad. This video is the worst. But this video actually rivals them all, too.
But what about?
That's my favorite line ever. Regardless of what anyone tells you about AOC, this is my favorite. But what about?
And we said none of that matters. We're going to figure that out.
So that gentleman just said, what about the rent cancellation? Prager goes, what about the rent cancellation? She goes, we're going to take care of that. No, you fucking didn't. No, you didn't take care of rent cancellation. So she just dismisses that question, and here we go.
But
What are you going to do? You asked us what we're going to do. What are you guys going to do?
Here's what we're going to do. The CDC just announced an eviction moratorium, and what we're here is for our reasons known and unknown. So our reasons known.
Our reasons known and
reasons
unknown. That's
unknown.
the Rummy line, the Donald Rumsfeld line, right? We have to consider all possibilities, known, unknown, and then the known unknowns, right?
Was to make sure that we extended this moratorium. That's what we're here to do.
What about the 10%? What about the 10%?
So they got a targeted. So what they won, which was already determined, they got a targeted eviction moratorium, which leaves out 1.1 million people. So that means there's 600,000 homeless people in America. They're about to triple the homeless numbers because 1.1 million people are going to be added to the 600,000 who are already homeless. And that's what they're asking about. How can you possibly call this a victory when you're leaving? You're going to triple the number of homeless people in the country. And that's why that guy is asking, what the fuck are you going to do about it?
I just had such a good idea. I just had maybe one of my better ideas I've ever had in my life. I just had maybe one of my better ideas I've ever had in my life. I can't tell you guys, but I'm going to act upon it as soon as I finish streaming tonight, which won't be for a while. It's an interview guest that may just be my best. I don't know what just made me think about this, but I may have just had my best idea ever. Let's keep watching. Oh, that was the end of the video, actually. Anyways, that was fucking wild. You know, we have to consider all unknowns and knowns, and what about, and what are you gonna do? And this one's great. This one, I think I need to let these all sit in. I need to let this one really sit in and consider how much I love this one.
AOC is just Joe Crowley, except no one takes her seriously. Hashtag let them eat cake.
Thank you for the chat, Eden. Yeah, I agree. Oh my god, you guys, my idea right now is so good. I love my idea. Law at Boston University with dual degrees in economics and international relations, goes on to work
Feels great to get stoned again. Right on, Soko. Welcome back, bro.
Ted Kennedy in foreign relations. And then she can't answer a basic question ever about Israel. This is what she says.
People ask me to ask you this is, was it worth doing present? Because it didn't really satisfy anyone. The supporters of Israel are mad at you for...
Ever about Israel. This is what she says.
People ask me to ask you this is, was it worth doing present? Because it didn't really satisfy anyone. The supporters of Israel are mad at you for not voting for it. Critics of Israel are mad at you for not voting against it. Do you regret that?
You know, it is something that I weigh because there's always the macro and then there's the micro. And in the macro of narrative, of politics, of national impact, you know, I probably should have just gone with my value. But in the macro, which would be to vote no. But in the micro, I do believe that this created a window in our community to be able to bring all folks to the table, because my great fear is that we are going to import the same sort of contention around this issue, and we can have a progressive movement that defends Palestinian human rights, that is Muslim, Christian, Jewish, so in the micro, I believe that it created a window of opportunity.
Honestly, I liked my video the most. Here, let me bring it up. I liked my edited video the most.
Really? I want to see it. I want to see it.
I thought it was pretty good.
I'll bet it is. Let's watch it.
Fuck. Doing present, because it didn't really satisfy anyone. The supporters of Israel are mad at you for not voting for it. Critics of Israel are mad at you for not voting
Prince
against it. Do you
vibes with the
regret that?
background color?
Potentially.
You know, it is something that I weigh because there's always the macro and then there's the micro. And in the macro of narrative, of politics, of national impact, you know, I probably should have just gone with my value. But in the macro, which would be to vote no. But in the micro, I do believe that this created a window in our community to be able to bring all folks to the table, because my great fear is that we are going to import the same sort of contention around this issue, and we can have a progressive movement that defends Palestinian human rights, that is Muslim, Christian, Jewish, so in the micro, I believe that it created a window of opportunity for us in the Bronx, but in the macro, it was very difficult, yes.
He's like, I don't even know what to say back to that. Yeah, this is definitely a memeable clip. All her clips are, but this one definitely takes the cake.
It's pretty good.
God, if Saturday Night Live ever actually turned on AOC, like, they could do such funny shit. If they weren't such absolute fucking libs, they could do such funny videos of her. Micah, thank you for the super chat.
Instead of beating the dead AOC horse, maybe talk on Google agreeing to supply law enforcement with people who search specific names, address.
I haven't even heard of that story.
What?
I haven't even heard of that story. But I will keep beating the this story because, to be honest with you, there's still millions of people who believe in her. There's still millions of people who think she's like a bastion for progressivism. There's still millions of people that think she's a progressive champion. There's still millions of people who haven't seen this, who haven't seen any of her votes on Capitol Police funding, who haven't seen her votes on sanctions on Cambodia, hasn't seen her support for sanctions on Venezuela or the coup government in Venezuela, hasn't seen her support for giving $500 million to the Israeli military in December, hasn't seen any of the bullshit, right? She still has millions of followers that still believe in her, and well, if I want to make it part of my mission to debunk that narrative that she is somehow a bastion of progressivism, I will do that. And I am doing that. And I'm doing a pretty good job of it. But I will check out that story. Thank you for the super chat. Since I don't know anything about it right now, I'm not going to cover it on stream, but I am going to put that on my notes. Alright, so let's move on. Let's talk about, what do we want to talk about next?
I just tipped at $49.99.
Let's talk about China next. So, let's talk about this. So, a lot of people oftentimes wonder, what is the United States' end goal with China, right? What is the United States' end goal with China? Because, as I always point out, the United States cannot outspend China on military armament.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in what's going on with China. Let's get back to our show. I want to just see what he had to say about AOC. I hope that's okay with everybody. Let me just check the trending here. Same shit. Nobody gives a fuck about that. President of the New York Police Department Sergeants Union resigns after home and headquarters searched by FBI and criminal probe. Okay. Fuck this dude. Oh, Monique, you don't like Jackson Hinkle? I think he's excellent. He's got really good, accurate commentary on what's going on politically, I believe. It makes a lot of sense. AOC will be the president someday. You say, no, I did not. No, you did not what? Man, I want some more coffee for my voice, you know? Maybe I should gargle some warm salt water. Clear up my voice. It helped before I did the show. I've been going long here, yeah, over an hour. I wanted to do a lot of shows for you guys today, man. Because I was doing really, I was feeling really good about the channel being up. I do not like him. Yeah, you don't like Jackson Hinkle. Yeah, I see that. I see you don't like Jackson Hinkle for some reason. I don't know why. He's actually a very nice person. He's been on my show before. We got high together. I consider him a friend. I wonder why you don't like him. Down back of your throat. Are you okay? Yeah, I think I'm alright. I'm hoarse from yelling. And I think I've just got some sinuses from all the dust. Riding around on the quad today. Riding in the Roxer with the dog. Having fun. Sweet Lou says Jackson's the real deal. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is, Sweet Lou. He really is. I firmly believe that. You know, I wouldn't be watching him with y'all if I didn't think he was worth your time, you know? Cheers again, man. Other Zach's unknown strain cured full melt bubble hash toke. Right on, Sokol. Right on, buddy. So I finished watching this. That's a 2 hour and 10 minute movie. It goes by fast. I watched it over 2 days. It was great. I'm not done watching Reservoir Dogs again. I've got probably a little bit more than halfway through it. But I'll check the news headlines again. He's a fake corporatist. Oh, Kermit the Yang needs to shut the fuck up. What a hypocrite. Diana Morrison says, I always thought he was a fake corporatist trying to pose as a liberal one-trick pony. Well, that'll make him irrelevant at least. I just hate how Yang and his lame-ass followers stole Bernie's platform and called it their own. That's why I hate Yang. He was fucking subvert. He's a fucking goddamn thief. He stole somebody else's platform and called it. Someone was already running on all of that shit. Why didn't you join Bernie and offer to be his fucking vice president? Say, man, I'll be your vice president. I got this universal basic income idea. Douchebag. Fucking douchebag. do Flo Rosin. Matthew, who do you think is decent if AOC sucks in your opinion? Any woman in politics? What about Katie Porter? She is smart. Any woman in politics? Katie Porter does good things and she does shitty things. She's a politician. She's bought just like everybody else, Monique. They're all politicians. All men and women. I don't discriminate. Are you trying to say I discriminate against women? All politicians are cunts. Is that okay, Monique? Is that okay to say? I love women. I just hate fucking politicians. They're all fucking liars. AOC's a fucking lying cunt piece of shit. You know, Jackson Hinkle was 100% right. I don't think too many people here would disagree with him, except it seems like you. Are you a fan of AOC? She's a dumb cunt. She's a fucking liar. She's a backstabbing cunt bitch. And if you look and you check out the Green New Deal that she's pushing forward, you'll see that it pays for a lot of technology. You all came out of cunts. Yeah, everybody came out of cunts. It's true. It's true. I don't discriminate. But it seems to be a word that really rings true for a cunt like AOC, you know what I mean? So I like to use that word when talking about her. Or Nancy Pelosi. Or Mitch McConnell. Or Joe Biden, he's a cunt. Donald Trump is a fucking cunt. You know? They're all fucking cunts. Is that fair? Is that okay? Answer first question. Who do I think is decent? I already told you, none of them. They're all politicians. They're all cunts. All politicians are cunts. I already answered your question. Who do I think is decent? None of them. Which part of that are you misunderstanding? Try Arm & Hammer Simply Saline Nasal Mist. Well, if I find any, I will. I usually don't have nasal problems. It's because I was driving in sand a lot today. There's a lot of dust. I was having fun. I should have put a mask on. Now I'm straight. Right on, Monique. Well, it works for most people. Tulsi Gabbard is decent. No, Philip. Tulsi Gabbard is a stupid fucking cunt, and so are you. Now, when I tell you all fucking politicians are cunts, and you try to do a little end around on me, and you say Tulsi Gabbard is decent, really, Philip? Shut the fuck up, motherfucker. You have no idea what the fuck you're even talking about right now. All right? If you don't know what you're fucking talking about, don't join in a conversation. Tulsi Gabbard is about the cuntiest of all the fucking cunts out there. You fucking dumb cunt. God, you fucking dumb cunt, motherfucker. You're gonna try to one-up me, you stupid fucking cunt, bitch. See, Monique knows that Tulsi Gabbard's a cunt. Why don't you? Why don't you, Philip? She's a which part of all politicians are cunts didn't you get? I didn't tell you to shut up? No, why would I tell you to shut up? You weren't saying that Tulsi Gabbard is decent. she shut down Hawaii due to COVID? I don't know about that. If she did, Shay Blank, if that's what she did, well, then good for her. That's one good thing that she did. You got it wrong, dude. See, you're such a fucking idiot, Shay Blank. You're such a fucking idiot. You're trying to ride on my coattails and agree with me, and you're not even doing it for the right reason. You fucking moron. You dumb cunt bitch. Thank you, Shay Blank. Thank you. I'm calling everybody a cunt today. This cat wants more food. I don't want to get up, but I'm going to go. I love you guys. This is a lot of fun. But I'm going to go. Alright? Remember, all politicians are dumb fucking cunts. Remember that, guys. All of them. Okay? No sides. You don't choose fucking Tulsi Gabbard or AOC or anybody. They're not fucking baseball cards. They're all cunts. Remember that. And if they're fucking baseball cards, then you're fucking cunts. Okay? Very important. Okay. Love you guys. All politicians are cunts, though. I'll see y'all in the morning. Maybe. You guys take care. Bye. Thank you, everybody, for participating in the chat tonight. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Love you, too. All cunts. Okay. All politicians are cunts. All right. Bye.